welcome back to Holmes Yoga. Today we are going to be working on side plank, which is a great core strengthener for the obliques, internal and external obliques, the deeper layer of abdominal muscles. So it's really wonderful for your posture, supporting your spine. And we're going to play with a couple of different variations with the legs. We could do tree pose variation. We could also do the leg extended variation. So lots of options for people with different amounts of flexibility through their legs and hips. Okay, so we're actually going to get started standing, and I'd like for you to take your feet wide apart, and then you're going to turn your right leg out, and then bend and straighten the right knee a few times. So moving in and out of warrior two, going nice and slow so you can really feel the way that the muscles in the legs activate. Take your hands to your pelvis for a moment so that you see your hip bones are nice and square as opposed to tilted. And the next time you bend your knee, find your warrior two there. Reach out through the arms, and then take your forearm to your thigh and extend the arm over ear. And you're going to work on spinning your inner thigh forward to widen your knee towards your third toe, and then turn open. Just finding this opposite rotation through your rib cage, pressing down into your back foot. A few more breaths here. And then making your way back up through warrior two, nice and slow. Push the legs straight. Connect your hands to your pelvis for a moment as you turn to the other side. So again, slowly bending and straightening that leg. Pressing through the big toe ball mound on both feet, the pinky toe ball mound, the center of the heel. And the next time you come to that bent knee warrior two posture, reach out. And then take your forearm to your thigh and extend the opposite arm over your ear. Turn open from your rib cage as you spin your inner thigh forward. So the action of that foot is almost like you're opening the lid of a mason jar. It's not moving anywhere, but you're pressing down and dialing open. Couple more breaths here. And then make your way back to warrior two. Slowly straighten the leg and then parallel the feet. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift your heart, and then bow forward, wide-legged fold. Maintain that even pressure through those 3 points in your feet. Firm the thighs, 3 more breaths. And then press the floor away, lengthen. Hands to your hips, coming to stand from the strength of the legs and the core and the back. Good. Make your way to downward facing dog. And then as you inhale, come to plank pose. And as you exhale, come to down dog. So getting a little bit more stretch through the backs of the legs, connecting to the strength of the core. One more time, just like that. And then a few breaths in plank pose. Also feeling the strength in the sides of the waist as you pull the rib cage up and press the hands down. 2 more breaths here. And lowering slowly all the way down, flipping over onto your back. So if you have a sock or a long sleeve shirt or a belt, might be helpful to have that around the bottom of your foot. You can also interlace your hands behind your calf or reach for the foot if that suits you. So pressing your left leg firmly into the floor, start to open the right leg to the right. Now you do want to get some stretch through here, but you're also working on the stability of pressing the left leg down and keeping your left hip down as you open your right leg to the right. Try to keep your left shoulder blade on the floor, your left collarbone wide, your left shoulder soft. You almost have to turn your belly towards your left leg. A couple more breaths here. And bring your leg back to center, bend your knee. Extend your left leg to the sky and the right leg long on the ground. And then start to open it up. Keeping the right half of the pelvis anchored, the right shoulder soft. A few more breaths here. And bringing it back to center, bend that knee. And then bring both knees into your chest and take your knees wide and take your arms inside your legs, but hold on to the outer edges of your feet for a happy baby. And then from there, if you want to extend the legs away from each other, get that nice opening through the inner thighs. Reach through the legs, reach through the heels. Just another breath in here. And then close the legs like a book. And release your feet down to the ground. Go ahead and take a moment to come up and roll onto your side. So knees are bent. Stack your feet, stack your legs, and bring your forearm to the floor. From there, press into the knees and your forearm and lift your side waist up. You can take the top hand to your pelvis, and then you're going to lower your waist to the floor a little bit and then push down to lift up. So little kneeling side plank crunches here, lifting and lowering, really feeling that pressing down to lift the side waist up. For 3 and 2, one more. And stay. And then squeeze your forearm and your knees towards each other. Lift up a little bit higher and then release. And come over to the other side. Forearm to the floor. This is a nice way to strengthen, but to not overload the wrist so much, as to do it on your forearm. And then pressing down, once you've got the feet stacked, pressing down to lift up. And then your little side plank crunches here. Really feeling the rib cage lift away from the floor. So you won't necessarily be straight like a ruler. It's going to get a little bit curvy. All right. 3 more. And pressing down to lift up and stay. Squeeze the forearm and the knees towards each other. That makes it a little bit extra spicy. And then lower down. Great. Go ahead and flip over back to your hands and knees. And curling back to downward facing dog. And then in this down dog position, pivot to the outside edge of your right foot. So you can keep your feet staggered the way mine are at the moment, or you can stack the feet if you'd like. So notice I'm entering it from down dog, which means my waist is going to be a little bit higher. And then push the hand that's on the floor, push it down and away. Really lift the side waist up, and then start to turn your rib cage towards the ceiling. And if you feel all right there, you can extend that top arm up. If it's uncomfortable for your neck at all to look up, you can look straight ahead or take your gaze back down. Another breath here. And then lift your top leg, pull your knee to your navel, nice and slow, core control, step that left foot up. And then lower your back knee down. Squeeze the legs towards each other. Make your way up into your lunge. Take your left hand to your hip again, and then stretch up and over to your left side. So press the right knee down, draw the ribs back, and lengthen up and over. Another breath here. Exhale, release hands to the floor, and step back, downward facing dog. So from down dog, pivot your toes to the right. So you're now on the outside edge of the left foot, and again, your feet can stay staggered, or you can stack the legs. Lift your waistline high. Hand on the floor is going to be pushing away from you. Keep the shoulder blade on the back as you start to turn your rib cage to the sky. Option to reach that top arm up. One more breath. And then lift your top leg nice and slow. Coil knee to navel, coil knee to navel. Step that foot up to a lunge. Lower the back knee and reach your arms up overhead. Right hand comes to your hip, lengthen up, and take a little side bend here. One more breath here. And then releasing your hands to the floor and coming back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Bend your knees, reach your arms overhead, and then cross your right ankle over top of your left knee. Stick your bottom out and sit back, one-legged chair pose. You're going to take your right hand to the outside edge of your right foot, your left hand to your hip, and then as you come to stand, pull your right knee towards the ceiling. So you're in this like standing half happy baby position. I'm going to turn to face you. It might be a little bit easier to see in this orientation. Right, lengthen through both sides of the waist, draw your ribs back, and then you can extend the right leg open just as much as feels sensible for you. So you can keep your knee bent a little bit. If it feels okay, extend your leg all the way. And a couple more breaths here. And then bend the knee, find tree pose now. And as much as the foot is pushing into the inner thigh can push back into the foot. Press into the big toe of the standing foot. Pull your pelvis towards the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Maybe reach the arms overhead. So that time that you spent connecting to the muscles of the side waist, find that strength and stability here. It'll help you with your balance. And then release. Standing tall. Second side, crossing your left ankle over your right knee. Find your balance. So you can always do this next to a wall. Use the wall for support. And the right hand will come to the hip. Left hand will go to the pinky toe edge of the foot. Standing half happy baby. Plug the shoulder blade onto the back and then start to kick the foot away from you. Any amount. Doesn't have to straighten all the way. One more breath. And then bend the knee and make your way into tree pose. Place the foot against the inner thigh or anywhere along the inside of the leg. Keep your inner thigh strong. Turn it on. Press it back against the foot. Press that big toe down. Maybe extend the arms up overhead. And release. Tadasana. Great. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, walk out, plank pose. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra dog or upward facing. Exhale, back to downward facing. Step your right foot in between your hands. Pin your back foot flat. So we're going to build triangle pose from the ground. So if you have a block or a book, you can pop that underneath your right hand. If you can keep your fingertips to the floor, push the right leg straight. Try to lengthen through the underside of the waist. Right, pelvis stays square. You're going to start to turn open. Option to reach your left arm to the sky. Feel how the arm connects into the upper back. So again, if it causes you any neck tension to look up, you can either gaze neutral or gaze down to the ground. Press into the ball of that front foot. Feel the opening through the legs. We've worked this kind of position of the legs and the orientation of the pelvis in a few different poses now. Reach the arm over ear, get super duper long. Lift your back heel, bend your front knee, plant your left hand a little bit further to the left side of your mat. Right hand is going to hold the pinky toe edge of your right foot. Lift your foot off the floor, spin to the pinky toe edge of your left foot. From here, you can come to tree pose and then press your foot up against your inner thigh. You can also maintain hold of that foot and come into this happy baby posture, or maybe you're able to extend that leg to the sky. Start to turn open. And then you can play with keeping hold of your foot, stepping back into a lunge at the top of your mat. Lower your back knee down. And then you can straighten and bend your front leg a few times. And then make your way back to downward facing dog. And then step your left foot through to lunge. Spin the back foot flat. So give yourself some space. Push the front leg straight. So this is a wider triangle than I might normally come into if I came into it standing. All right, really firm the left thigh, lengthen through the left side body, turn open. Couple breaths here. And sweep the arm over your ear, lift your back heel, rotate your pelvis to the floor. So take your right hand a little bit wider to the right side of your mat. Grab hold of the outer edge of the left foot, spin onto the pinky toe edge of that foot. It's going to be really helpful if you can lift high enough that your whole foot can come to the floor, and then find the leg position that suits you best. Right, it's also really wonderful to be right here, very strengthening to have something to push up into. Open up. And then slowly step your left foot back up to the top of your mat. Lower your back knee. And then press the front leg straight and bend a few times. And then make your way back into downward facing dog. So again, in a little bit more of an inversion and strengthening, you can lower your forearms to the floor, walk in for dolphin pose. And then push your arms straight. Make your way through plank pose, lower all the way down to the ground. You did it. Roll over onto your back. Bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. Press up for bridge pose. You can hold the outer edges of your mat, which I really love this variation. If you hold your mat and bend your elbows gently into the floor and then pull your arms away from each other, you might get a really nice opening through the shoulders and the upper arms. Stand into your feet. For another breath. And slowly lower down. Shift your pelvis slightly more to the left side of your mat. Draw your knees into your chest and drop your legs over to the right. Then it's sometimes really nice to turn your head. Sometimes it's taught to turn your head opposite the legs. I really like to teach turning your head towards the legs. Feel more opening through the left side of the chest. Head is heavy, jaw can soften. Start to slow your breathing down. Just one more breath here. And then make your way back through center. Shift your pelvis through neutral over to the right side a little bit. Draw the knees in and then twist your legs over to the left. And then make your way through center. Bend the knees into your chest. And curl up into a little ball. A little bit of core strengthening there. And then lengthen the legs out about mat's distance apart. Interlace your hands together behind your head for a moment. Just let your head rest back into your hands like you're relaxing on the beach. Soft breath in. Through the nose or through parted lips, a long breath out. And then settle into your final rest, Shavasana, for a few moments. Letting go. Releasing attachment to outcome. Releasing any ideas or judgments that you have about your body or your practice. Just releasing. Just allowing yourself to soften and be present. Next breath in, take it in a little more deeply, send it down to the hands and feet, the arms, the legs. A little wiggle to fingers and toes. Ground your feet. Roll onto your side and come up to sit. So I hope you had some fun with that. Keep at it. I promise it'll come. Feel free to leave me any questions or comments. And thank you so much for practicing. See you next time. Namaste.